and in these lectures we'll discuss the blueprint reading for welders, and we will discuss the different types of lines and views associated with these blueprints. The first one we'll discuss is the object lines, then the hidden lines, center lines, extension and dimension lines, leader lines, cutting plane lines, section lines, short and long break lines, and then the phantom lines. We will also discuss the different types of views. The pictorial views, which consist of oblique and isometric views, and the orthographic projection views, which consist of the front, top, bottom, left, and right views. So let's get started with the rest of the lectures. Basic lines. There are several different types of lines used on prints, and each has different meanings. In this lecture, we'll discuss 5 of these different lines. The first one we'll discuss is the object line, then the hidden lines, the center lines, extension and dimension lines, then leader lines. Okay, the first one is the object line. The object line is a thick solid line, and the purpose of this line is to show the visible shape of a part. It's used to outline the object. The next line is a hidden line. A hidden line is broken lines of medium thickness, and the purpose of this line is to show the edges and outlines that are not visible to the eye. The next one we'll discuss is the center line. And the center line is a fine broken line made of series of short and long dashes alternately spaced. And the purpose of the center line is to show the center of a circle or arc and to aid in the dimensioning of these parts. Next, we'll discuss the extension line and the dimension lines. The extension lines are lines that extend from the object without touching the object. The dimension lines are fine lines with arrowheads unbroken except where the dimension is placed. And the purpose of these lines, the extension line shows the dimension points, and the dimension line touches the extension line and shows distance given by that dimension. Okay, the next and final line on this lecture is the leader line. The leader line is a fine straight line with an arrowhead or round solid dot at one end. It is usually drawn at an angle. And the purpose of this leader line, it points directly to the surface for purpose of dimensioning and aiding with a note. Take a few minutes and look at this leader line. Notice that it's pointing it with showing a dimension, and it's also pointing showing you the circle and the dimension of the circle, which is a 1/2 inch in diameter. We'll first discuss the cutting plane lines, the section lines, the short and long break lines, and the phantom lines. First, we're going to discuss the cutting plane line. The cutting plane line, the preferred cutting plane line, is a heavy broken line made up of series of 1 long and 2 short dashes alternately spaced. Arrowheads are placed at right angles to the cut plane lines shown. Alternate cutting plane lines are a solid heavy line or a series of long dashes. The purpose of a cutting plane line is to indicate where an imaginary cut is made through an object. The arrow points to the direction in which the section should be viewed. Letters next to the arrowheads indicate the section in case there are more than one section to be shown on the drawing. These lines are orientated vertically, horizontally, or at the actual angle at which the part is drawn. Next, we'll discuss the section lines. The section lines is a series of fine lines, solid and broken, arranged in specific patterns. They may be shown either straight or curved. When shown straight, they are usually drawn at a 45-degree angle. However, this angle may vary when applied to adjacent parts. And the purpose of section line is to indicate the imaginary cut surface referred to by the cutting plane line, to represent various types of materials, such as stainless steel, aluminum, and so on. The next line we'll discuss is the short break line and the long break line. The short break line is a heavily irregularly line drawn freehand, and the purpose is to show the short break, to conserve space on the drawing, to show a particular section. The long break line is a ruled, light line with freehand zigzags, and the purpose of the long break line is to show a long break to conserve space on a drawing. Next, we'll discuss the phantom line. The phantom line is a light, broken line made up of a series of one long and two short dashes. And the purpose of phantom line is to show alternate positions of a part, to show relationship of existing part to a new part, or to show a machine surface. So take a few minutes and look at this slight video. Basic views. Drawings are made to describe an object in sufficient detail to permit fabrication. Orthographic projection is the method employed to do this. By this method, the exact form of the object is shown by various views of the object arranged in a particular order. Note that the views have a definite arrangement. The top view is placed directly above and in line with the front view. The right side view is placed to the right of and in line with the front view. This arrangement of views is in accordance with the third angle orthographic projection. And there is no limit on the number of views that may be used to describe an object. Usually 3 properly selected views are sufficient. In cases where more views are needed to illustrate the shape clearly and to make dimensioning easier, the bottom, left side, or back side views can be used. Simple parts can be completely described with only 1 or 2 views. And it should be noted that the front view usually gives the best indication of the shape of the detail of an object. This does not mean that the front view necessarily shows the front of the object. For example, if a welding torch is represented on a print, the front of the torch is not shown as the front view, since it does not show the shape of the torch as well as the side profile of the torch. Therefore, to simplify the reading of the print, the profile selected from the front view is generally that which best describes the object. Okay, let's look at the picture below. The oblique drawing. Oblique drawings are designed to show a 3-dimension view of an object at a 45-degree angle. Look below to the left. Isometric drawings are designed to show a 3-dimension view of an object having the horizontal edges of the object shown usually at a 30-degree angle, and all vertical projected perpendicular from the horizontal base, as described below to the right. These are the basic lines we went through. The part outlines, which is the object line, the section line, the hidden lines, center lines, dimension and extension line, cutting plane line, and the break lines. We also went over the basic views, the oblique and isometric, and also the top, front, right side views. Please take a minute and look over these flashcards. Welding symbols and locations. Take a few minutes and familiarize yourself with this drawing. On this drawing, you'll see finish symbol, the contour symbol, groove weld size, arrow side, and other side. So take a few minutes and familiarize yourself. Welding symbol. A standard welding symbol and weld symbols have been developed by the American Welding Society. These symbols developed by the American Welding Society will be covered in detail throughout this lecture. The standard welding symbol consists of a reference line, an arrow, and a tail. Each component has a particular function. The reference line is used to apply weld symbols and other data, and the arrow connects the reference line to the area to be welded. The tail is added only when needed for the purpose of including a specification process or other reference. The phrase welding symbol refers to the total symbol including all information added to the specific weld. Weld symbol, on the other hand, refers to the symbol for a specific type of weld. The weld symbol is only part of the total information that may be contained in a welding symbol. The arrow of a welding symbol may be shown with or without a break. When shown with a break, the break is made toward the member of the joint that is to be prepared or shaped. Note that if there is no reference as to which joint member is to be prepared, or if it is obvious which member is to be prepared, the arrow need not be shown. The arrow is always drawn at an angle to the reference line. It is never drawn parallel to or in the same plane as the reference line. Multiple arrows may be added to a reference line to show the same weld required in several different locations. The reference line of a welding symbol also has a particular significance that remains the same regardless of the elements added to it. Location of a weld symbol. When a weld symbol is placed on the reference line on the lower side of the line, the weld must be made on the arrow side of the joint. Note that a vertical leg of the fillet weld is always shown drawn to the left of a slant side of the symbol. When weld symbols are placed on both sides of the reference line, the welds must be made on both sides of the joint. Take a few minutes and familiarize yourself with the basic weld symbols. Take a few minutes and look over the flashcards, going over the things we have discussed. Field weld and weld all around symbols. Welds extending continuously around the joint are indicated by placing the weld all around symbol at the break of the reference arrow line. Welds not made in the shop are identified as field welds and are indicated by placing the field weld symbol at the break in the reference arrow line. Note that the flag of the field weld symbol may point in either direction with respect to the arrow of the welding symbol. A field weld symbol and a weld all around symbol may be used together. Contour and finish symbols. Supplementary contour symbols are used with weld symbols to indicate how the face of the weld is to be finished. In addition, finish symbols may be used with contour symbols to indicate the method to which use of forming the contour of the weld. Letter designations are used for this purpose. The letter C is for chipping, G is for grinding, M is for machining, R is for rolling, H is for hammering, and P is for planishing, and U is for unspecified. Applying the letter U to a contour symbol signifies any method of finish may be used. Dimensions on welding symbols. There are definite locations on the welding symbol for designation for the size or strength of weld, the length of the weld, the pitch, which is center to center spacing, and the number of welds in the case of plug, slot, spot, stud, seam, or projection welds. These locations are determined by the side of the reference line on which the weld symbol is placed. The location of the number of spot or projection welds may be either above or below the symbol, which there may be no arrow side or other side significance for these symbols. Designation of special information, which is listed in the tail. Certain operations require a specific welding process, a particular type of electrode, or other information necessary to complete a weld. In this case, a note may be placed in the tail of the reference line using standard welding abbreviations. Note that the term back gouge indicates removal of weld metal and base metal from the other side of a particular weld joint. This ensures complete joint penetration when welding the gouged side of the joint. There are circumstances when weld symbols are not added to the reference line of the welding symbol. This may occur when the drawing permits optional joint penetration with only complete joint specified. This is indicated by placing the letters CJP in the tail of the arrow and omitting the welding symbol. A note is added to the print that specifies this option. The welding symbol may not always be adequate to denote the weld required, such as a skewed weld joints that derive from the straight line. When this is the case, a cross-section or detailed drawing of the joint and shape of the weld is shown on the print. Data in the form of notes may be added to the drawing to further clarify the joint to be weld or weld required. Reference is made to the detail or section drawing by a note or notes added to the reference line of the welding joint with an arrow side and other side or both side significance. Duplicate welds. To save drafting time and to reduce drafting costs, it is common practice to designate similar welds by additional multiple arrows, or by an indication placed in the tail of the symbol. It should be noted, however, that any indication such as 4 places must refer to obvious welds. If there is any doubt where these 4 places are on the print, separate symbols for each weld should be applied. Note that the abbreviation TYP for typical may be used to indicate a repetition of identical welds and is shown in the tail of the welding symbol. Multiple reference lines and their applications. Additional reference lines may be applied to the basic welding symbol to show 1. A sequence of welding operation where the first operation must be completed before the next can be performed. 2. Supplementary symbols applicable to the weld symbol shown on the first reference line. Note that the first reference line is the one located closest to the arrow. When multiple reference lines are applied to the basic welding symbol, the weld all around and field weld symbol may be added to one or all of the reference lines. Take a few minutes and look over the flashcards. Let's go over 15 common questions that are asked about blueprints. Question number 1. In orthographic projection, the exact form of the object is shown by various views of the object arranged in a particular order. This answer is true. Number 2. The purpose of a chain line is to indicate the imaginary cut surface referred to by the cutting plane line. That answer is false. Question number 3. There is no limitation on the number of views that may be used to describe an object. That answer is true. Number 4. The front view always shows the front of the object. That answer is false. The best views show the front of an object. Number 5. All views have a particular position with respect to each other and have either a horizontal or vertical alignment. That answer is true. Number 6. Blank are made to describe an object in sufficient detail to permit fabrication. That answer is drawings. Number 7. Blank projection is the method employed to describe the object in sufficient detail to permit fabrication. That answer is D. Orthographic projection. Number 8. A broken line of medium thickness is known as a blank line. Hidden lines. The answer is A. Number 9. A fine broken line made up of a series of short and long dashes alternately spaced is known as what type of line? Center line. The answer is C. Number 10. The blank lines are fine lines that extend from the object with a slight break between. That answer is A. Extension lines. Number 11. A fine straight line with an arrowhead or round solid dot on one end is known as what type of line? B. A leader line. Number 12. A heavy broken line made up of a series of long and short dashes alternately spaced is known as what type of line? A chain line. Number 13. The blank break line is a heavy, irregular line drawn freehand. That is a short break line. Number 14. The blank break line is a ruled light line with freehand zigzags. That is called a long break line. And number 15. When three views are used to describe an object, the blank view is placed directly above and in line with the front view. That answer is A, the top view.